Hello.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm great.
Welcome, dudes.
Welcome to Dude. That's fucked up.
Dude, that's fucked up.
Dude, there's going to be a lot of just fucked in this one. There's a lot of, dude,
a lot of fucked up.
Fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucked. I'm Erin.
I'm Nicole.
I don't know if people are still confusing our voices.
That's funny to me. I think
it is really
different,
funny.
But
oh, we sound very well, but yeah, I know. Yeah.
Sometimes though, one of my coworkers one time was like, "I love when you guys both like sigh at the same time. Like we'll be like, ha, ha, ha.
Sometimes it's just like, or we're just like, together.
Yeah.
Like Chrissy Teigen face together.
Yeah. The more we do this, maybe the more we're sounding the same too, you know?
Oh, I mean, yeah, like, but yeah. In case people are, if you're like just tuning in, maybe this is like only the like second or third episode you've ever listened to, and you're like, who is talking right now? Yeah. My name is Erin.
Yeah.
My husband's name is DJ.
Uh-huh.
I am pregnant. I have 2 cats.
Oh, those are all good, like...
Good baseline.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. If you say, oh, me and DJ, or, oh, now that I'm pregnant, or, oh,
yeah.
the cats did this, then you know that's Erin.
Yeah, I have darker brownish hair that's dyed. I don't know what the original color is. I think it's really dark brown at this point, but I don't know.
You're wearing a bold red lip. Oh, your hair's not gray yet, like mine?
Oh, I don't know.
Mine's getting gray.
I frequently dye it, so
okay.
I don't know. Yeah, so those are the differences. Nicole, maybe some top line info for you.
I'm Nicole. My boyfriend / domestic partner's name is Pete. I live in Los Angeles. I talk about the comedy scene a lot, and that's about it. I don't have pets or anything that I talk about.
You can just get up and go whenever you want to.
Yeah, I could get up and go. I have nothing tying me down.
No.
I have braces, so I occasionally have what I will refer to as a lisp.
Yeah.
But it's getting better. I think maybe it might be getting worse because my teeth are moving, and so like my bite is changing. And it's getting hard.
Yeah, but I don't notice it. And if you do every now and then have a little lisp slip, that's okay.
I can't even say that. I don't think
lisp slip. I had to do physical. I had to do speech therapy when I was a kid because I had a full blown major lisp. So
it is physical therapy in a way.
It is. Yeah, you have to like physically hold your tongue in place, like into the right place. Yeah. So. Anyway. Yeah. So that's us. How about you guys? How's everything going? I hope you're all good.
Yeah.
Do we have any business? The only thing I can ever think to say is that you should check out our website. It's dtfupodcast.com. And there's so many things that you can do there. Like go to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/DTFUpodcast. There's a link you could go to if you don't want to type that into a browser. That will take you there. Same with whatever platform you want to listen on. There's all kinds.
Or whatever platform you want to follow us on in terms of like social meds.
Social meds, yeah. We have all the things on there. So
we have a store.
We have a store where you could buy a t-shirt and stickers.
It's so fun.
So much stuff. Anyway, that's all the biz. I don't have anything very fucked up this week. I don't know. I guess a fun thing that's been happening to me because of pregnancy is that my anxiety levels are through the roof.
Oh.
It's fun.
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
How does that manifest for you? Like, how does your anxiety manifest itself?
I get back spasms. So actually.
Great. That sounds like a fun time.
That's a really fun time for me. I get back spasms and I like can't sleep very well, but that's like all part and parcel of like being uncomfortable anyway. So I'm like taking it in stride. Yeah. I'm getting a massage, like a prenatal massage today though. So that should help.
Yeah. Oh, that's
gotta take care of yourself, you know?
Yeah. Self-care. So. Well, you're taking care of yourself and your baby. So
that's true. Yeah.
I mean, you got to do what you can to make sure it's
Yeah.
like, make sure the baby's in like a relaxed environment.
Yeah.
That's like low anxiety and like
Yeah.
eating all the best foods, and it's good.
Yeah. I'm drinking a green juice right now. I'm like,
Ooh.
yeah. It's pasteurized. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing people get really like
Upset
weird
about
about.
that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But does that matter? Because like you could eat raw vegetables.
Well, you've seen people getting sick from vegetables these days, so you have to like really wash them really good.
Yeah, yeah.
But the pasteurization thing is just like more like, I don't know. Bacteria could grow and manifest easier if it's not. I don't know.
Oh.
Whatever. Yeah. Whatever.
Just following the rules, yeah.
Just following the rules.
Doing what you can.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's all I got. What about you?
Okay. I have something that it's like really embarrassing. I don't know. I feel like Pete and I have never like talked about our past, which is good.
Oh. Do you mean past sexual history?
Yeah, or
Okay.
like dating or whatever. Like
okay.
like I don't know. I know he had like a really serious girlfriend before me at some point in college. But I don't know what her name was. I don't know how many people he slept with. Like, I don't know any of that stuff. Cause
Oh
I don't
my
care.
God, I like literally asked DJ, I'm like, how many people have you slept with? Like the first like 2 weeks or something we started dating. And I like
So
told
you
him all
know?
my I don't think he can count.
Oh.
or he
Oh.
can, but he didn't want to like throw out some weird crazy number. But
What a
I
stud.
know he was like doing some things. He's hot.
Yeah. Well, and which is the opposite from you because you were like a relationship person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I just don't want to know. But and also, I don't think Pete knows like the details of how I lost my virginity. But if he listens to the podcast, obviously, anywho, this is relevant.
So you wanted to head it off at the past maybe a little bit before this episode? I don't know.
Well, also with this podcast and with like my comedy my lisp just popped up. My comedy trajectory, like I am like becoming more I'm becoming less filtered and I'm like, you know what? I can just be me. Who cares? No one's judging me at this point. I'm in my 30s. People
who cares?
are dicks if they're so we were like so I just talk more about things now. So we were on a walk and there's a guy who's like tall and gangly and like wearing I don't even know what these hats are called, but it's like kind of like a the Village People police hat kind of. It's like leather.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But it wasn't, but it looks like a muffin top kind of with a bill, but this one was denim and the guy was also wearing a denim jacket. And I'm pretty sure the guy I lost my virginity to had that same outfit. And so I was like,
Like a Peaky Blinders hat?
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
But like
okay.
Denim.
Ew. Wait, but did the guy that you lost your virginity to have a denim one, or was it?
Yeah, no, for sure he did.
No.
It was bad, and I think he wore a vest with it.
But he was like European, right?
I know, but I don't know
And,
that makes it right. I don't know.
I don't know.
know.
He was like channeling some like, I don't know, like vibes that you can't really pull off if you're American.
Well, this guy, yeah, true. This guy I think was American and was not pulling it off. And it was just like really weird. And I was like, oh no. And Pete's like, what? And I'm like, that looks like the guy I lost my virginity to. Like that same outfit. It's like PTSD.
Oh,
and
no.
Pete was like, oh no.
He's like, I feel really bad for you.
Yeah. I was like, ooh. I only slept with him once. And then I moved on to someone else in his band, so it's fine.
I think it's cool. I mean,
I don't want to brag or anything, but
I remember that time. That was a wild time. I mean, I feel like if you haven't really hung out with a band or a gross group of dudes in your life, like as a lady.
What were you doing in your early 20s?
That's
like what were you doing?
A lot of us, a lot of people didn't, and it's probably for the best, but a lot of us did, and it really it could be really gross.
I've had Not PTSD. Actually, it's been like fond memories, I feel like, this week with this topic. Because it's been like fun. And I'm like, yeah, I had that little streak. And I could totally see myself. This morning, Pete and I were driving. And he, like, I was like taking him to the bus or whatever. And he was like, oh man, that was like crazy. This time we're going to talk about today and like this band. And I was like, dude, you think it's crazy or like gross? I think it's like I would have been there every night. In the fucking front row, like pulling up my shirt, showing my titties. Yeah. I would have been crazy.
Fucking in the bathroom of the rainbow room.
Yeah, or the Whiskey a Go-Go. Yeah. Fucking probably whatever. I mean, I don't know. But, you know, chances are I wouldn't have made it to the band because there's probably hotter girls. But,
no.
But you know, the roadie guy, I would have been like, hey, guy.
What up, dude? Yeah. This was a wild time in life. We're talking today specifically about Motley Crüe.
Oh my God, sexy.
I guess.
So much leather daddies. I love it.
I don't know that that's what they were specifically going for, but they were wearing some things.
They sure ended up looking like them sometimes on stage, and I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. So Motley Crüe, if you don't know, was like, if you're like, who is this dusty ass old band? Motley Crüe was one of the biggest metal bands of the 80s. They had like, if you're like trying to envision them, because there was a lot of them during this time, but just think crazy mullet hair, platform shoes, chips, dips, chains, whips. I don't know. Like, there's just a lot happening.
For all of it, but all mostly the chips and dip.
Yes. I was like watching like some like documentaries about them, and I was just like, they're wearing full on like leather daddy outfits that you would see at a leather daddy convention that happens in DC every year. Like, dude,
and they were looking tight.
Oh my God, they were so thin and so like. Some good. God. There was like, it was crazy. So, and then also I was like, wait, this is like right after Kiss. So they're emulating Kiss a lot. So you're like, what's the, I guess the aesthetic was like that. If you're trying to envision, but only like in my personal opinion, a little bit more messy. A lot more messy.
And less like costumey. Like it was like not as costumey as Kiss, but they were heavily influenced by Kiss. I also love Kiss, which is not a popular opinion. People hate Kiss. People hate Kiss. I fucking love them. So
I'm not like a huge fan, but like I can appreciate some of their songs.
The People I don't like. I don't like the People, but I like them as a band and their music.
Yeah. So, but they were, Kiss was like a big influence on them during, like after like the 70s when they were popular, going into the 80s when all these like kind of hair metal, I guess I would call it like pop metal, started becoming huge. They were, and they were like less theatrical than Kiss. Like they didn't really wear paint, like face paint.
No.
I think on the cover of their first album though, they have like a little bit on, and that was just like, a little fun. Yeah. But yeah, very glam.
But they weren't like a character. Like there wasn't the one that's the cat.
Yeah. Like what the fuck was that?
Fuck off. I hate that. It's like you picked the worst possible makeup.
It's like, meow. What? Where did that come from?
I always, for Ace Frehley
I would be
is
that,
Spaceman, right?
Huh?
Ace Frehley is Spaceman.
I don't fucking know, dude. You're asking the wrong person.
Something
but, like,
Chris.
If I was in Kiss, I would be the cat probably. So I don't know why I'm.
Ew, bitch, you would not.
Yes, I would.
Ew, no, you wouldn't. I'd be like, you're gonna be the cat, and you'd be like, no, you're right. Let's be something else.
Who is the star person? Was that Gene Simmons?
No, the lead.
The star? No, like the one that had the star.
Oh,
on their eye.
I think that's Paul Stanley, the lead singer.
Oh, okay.
And then Gene Simmons has like the weird like two.
Yeah.
But and then there's the cat, man.
I like the cat.
Stop.
And then there's one that just has like a butthole mouth. I don't know. I can't even envision this. That's the one I'd be.
God.
It's
And
just
there's
like,
one that just says butthole melt.
yeah.
And then there's one that's just like full on kabuki makeup. They didn't even try it. Like,
Yeah, it's like, what? I don't
What
even remember
happened?
the other one. So, but yeah, they were not Kiss though. That was the thing. However, they were very gender bending, kind of like how Kiss was. And
They wore makeup, like blush and
were-
stuff.
yeah. And they like really did their hair, and they weren't as they didn't have like, they had crazy stage shows, but it wasn't like as theatrical as Kiss. Like they lit themselves on fire and stuff, and they use like pentagrams and like some satanic kind of iconography in their stuff, and like got accused of like Satanism and stuff, which cool. But they're just like, yeah, we're just trying to be fucking weird. So
Yeah.
and they were just like gross. I don't know. They I like when I like look at them
Yeah.
or like see pictures of them or see them like on stage, like music videos or whatever. I think of an overflowing ashtray, whiskey vomit, and crabs, like the STD.
Yeah. That's probably, I
That's-
mean, I don't, but
That's
is that
the
like,
vibe.
but like, is that bad? Like-
Yes. For me, personally.
But like, is in your 20s hot to trot, is that enough to overlook them?
Probably not, because
Okay,
your
that's what I mean.
your brain's still developing and can't make good decisions. So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the rock and roll scene on the Sunset Strip. This is where they were doing their thing. They're from California, and that's where they all got together in the early '80s. The rock and roll scene on the Sunset Strip was wild in the early '80s. Like we're talking the Roxy, the Whiskey A Go Go, the Troubadour, the Rainbow. Like these are all the venues that were the wildest, where all these bands played. And
Have you been to any of those places?
I've been to the Whiskey.
Same.
I think I've been to the Troubadour.
Same.
But I remember our friend's band played at the Whiskey.
Uh-huh. Did you go?
Yeah, I totally
Oh,
did.
me too. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think I've been a couple times actually.
I think
for
I have
different
too.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's gross.
Cool. You could smell everything that's happened there over the past 30 years or whatever.
It's like beer and vomit
Yeah.
and cigarettes.
Yep.
And it's
crabs.
like it's not that like impressive. Like it's not like this huge venue. It's like pretty small. It's not that big.
No.
But it's cool. It's awesome. It's history. You just think about like the Doors played there, and like I don't know. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And like in the early '80s, super gnarly groupies, tons of drugs, so much hair, and like I said, this like the pop metal movement was really sweeping through LA at this time. Some of like the biggest bands that would play on the Sunset Strip were Poison, Guns N' Roses, Quiet Riot, Twisted Sister, Wasp, Rat, Whitesnake, Van Halen, Skid Row. Like all these guys were very popular back then. But
Yeah.
Motley Crüe was the one dominating, I think,
Yeah.
back then.
I feel like in their come up, like they were like dominating. I think they didn't go on to be as big as some of the other bands.
Sure.
But like
yeah.
they were like, this was their moment.
In their time. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was crazy. They were getting all the ladies.
Oh my God. They were wild. I mean, so it was 4 dudes, started in 1981. Like they had a really kind of started off with like kind of a punk rock sound, because punk was like starting to get really popular. But there was also like a lot of new wave stuff that was happening. This was like a really interesting time in music, I think.
Yeah.
And
It was so different. Like
Yeah.
this, there were so many different movements happening, which I guess isn't different from today in music. You know, there's so many genres that like are very separate from each other.
right.
But I feel like
This
just now that we're talking about this, it's like, oh man, this was like the LA music scene. The New York music scene in the 80s was so different.
So different.
Blondie
yeah.
and like everything happening at CBGB and like, you know, it was like a little more grittier and more hardcore. And this was like more LA, more glam and like.
Yeah, and we also, I mean, like the punk was different because that was all kind of happening at the same time.
Yeah.
But this genre of music really set itself apart with their kind of aesthetic, and they're just like really hard partying, and like it was fun music. Like
Yeah.
it was pretty upbeat. It was kind of silly, kind of theatrical.
Yeah.
Whereas like I think punk at the time was just like super gritty, super just very intense.
Yeah. Well, and this was the kind of music that would eventually like chart on like the Billboard top charts and stuff. Whereas I think some of the punk music was just too much. Like this was.
Oh yeah, that was like more underground. This was this made it to the mainstream more than anything else.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that had to do with like the sex appeal and just like the fun vibe. Happening at this time in LA. So started by the bass player, Nikki Sixx.
Okay. Do people know who these people? I mean, we're gonna talk about who these people are, but like I like know Motley Crüe a little bit mostly from a lot of the things we're gonna talk about.
Pop culture.
Yeah, pop culture. Wasn't Nikki Sixx engaged to Kat Von D for a while, like right before she got really famous?
They dated.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, okay. in like the early mid 2000s.
Okay.
And like when all the grossest like trends were happening.
Ew, yeah, like tattooing your face with stars.
Yeah.
Which Tommy Lee also did. But.
Yeah, so Nikki Sixx was the bass player. He started it. He got Vince Neil, who was, I think, super young at the time. Oh, no, the youngest one was Tommy Lee, who dated Pamela Anderson. We all know him from their sex tape.
Oh, my God.
And he was the drummer. And then Vince Neil was the lead singer. And their lead guitarist was Mick Mars.
I don't know who that is.
He's like a little older. He like put out an ad and was like, I want to fucking play some gnarly guitar with somebody. I don't know. And Nikki Sixx is like, fuck yeah, let's start a band. And then they picked up Vince Neil and Tommy.
Oh yeah. Because Vince Neil was part of another band that was like kind of starting to get a little bit of popularity. And they're like, we want that guy in our band.
Yeah.
And then it all went click.
Yeah. Vince Neil was in like this band called London. That was like.
Yeah.
Kind of breaking out, but and playing all the clubs and stuff, but they poached him and then they started their band.
Have you seen the Tommy Lee sex tape?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately,
the whole
I've seen not the whole thing. I've seen.
Have you seen this part? Because I asked Pete. Pete goes, "Oh, have you seen the video?" And I was like, "No," or something. I don't know, but anyway, is there a part where he honks the horn of the boat with his dong?
Yeah.
Ew, why?
Because why not, you know?
That's weird.
There's a part where they pull over to fuck on the side of the freeway, and it's the off-ramp that leads to my grandparents' house. And I was just like, oh my fucking God. And I couldn't I was just like, this is gross. I don't want to watch this, first of all.
Oh my God.
And then I'm like realizing, I'm like, that's where you pull off to go to my grandparents' house. So,
is it sexy or gross?
It's just, I don't know. It's kind of icky. I don't know. It was like when Pam Anderson was in her prime, and I mean Tommy Lee was still like kind of hot, but
he wasn't like a fruit leather yet.
No, a fruit leather daddy, a fruit roll up. No,
he wasn't a fruit by the foot leather daddy.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I think they like went to Havasu and it was just like it's just like trashy. It's just like ugh, you know.
Ugh.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I have seen parts of it, and all I could think about is how they were fucking on the side of the freeway where the
Where your
off ramp is
grandparents live.
for my grandparents. Yeah, so that's fun.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, Barstow,
Yeah.
or like like the armpit of California is where they were on the side of the freeway having sex. It's like, okay.
Well,
So unsexy. So yeah, no, it wasn't. It was not sexy. Anyway, moving on. So Motley Crüe became such a big deal because honestly, they had some really good songs.
so
They
good.
sold a shit ton of records. And they were the first like legit metal bands that like kind of broke into the mainstream.
Yeah.
They were like competing on like Billboard top
they,
charts.
They were charting. Their songs were charting like in the top 200. I think they only had one album get to number one, which would come later. But like some of their early songs were like getting enough radio play and people were buying them enough that they were like charting with like, you know, Michael Jackson and Pat Benatar and all the songs that were like
popular
that we think
in the
of
early
in the
80s.
80s.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So
like, and they were also like the first metal band to do the ballad, the rock ballad. It's so good. So some of their best songs that you guys probably have heard of, "Girls, Girls, Girls."
Girls, girls, girls.
Yeah.
Girls, girls, girls.
Shout at the Devil. That was like their first album, and that was like the title track from that album. Really good.
He's a wolf screaming lonely in the night. He's a blood stain on the stage. He's a tear in your eye. You've been tempted by his lie. He's a knife in your back. He's rage.
Shout,
shout, shout, shout at the devil. That's my favorite one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then Home Sweet Home is their ballad. It's like about life on the road, and it's really good. And then I've mentioned Dr. Feelgood in the Dr. Feelgood episode. This episode actually harkens back to a lot of previous episodes that we've done. It's pretty weird. So Dr. Feelgood, that's a good one.
Yeah.
He's the one that got Dr. Feelgood. He's the one that makes you feel all right. Yeah, it's a good one. I like Kickstart My Heart a lot. That's a good one. We'll get to this later, but that was after a near tragedy befell the band.
It was, based on a true event.
True event. Smoking in the Boys' Room, real fun one.
So good.
Smoking in the Boys' Room. Live Wire, that's a really good one, and I think maybe my favorite Motley Crüe song. It's very high energy. And
that's one of their first songs.
Yeah, that's one of their first songs.
I like the breaks in it. There's like these little breaks where like the music stops for a second and they sing like a little. Yeah, I like that. A lot.
It's a really fun, like high, almost like kind of punky kind of song.
Yeah,
it's good.
I don't have any of these. I have Shout at the Devil on like my running mix, but listening to most of these songs, I'm like, oh, I should just like, this is great music to exercise to.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah, it's very fun, high energy.
I grew up with a lot of like Motley Crüe on the radio, just because it was always on the radio when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like it was like the pop music then, basically.
Yeah.
Or at least what my dad had on the radio on his rock station.
Yeah.
So and there's like a ton more other like really good songs, but those are just some of in my opinion, some of their best songs.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, but they were still just like, they were doing it, but they were like also just like still like kind of like ripping off a lot of like older rockers.
Yeah. Well, they were kind of posery because like, I mean, I don't know. You know how we were talking about this a little bit, like texting about it yesterday when we were doing our notes and stuff. And I just feel like there was something genuine about music in the 70s, like,
oh yeah,
where it was like maybe a little bit more spiritual, or maybe a little bit more about like the journey, man, and like feeling the music. And then in the 80s, which was the 80s in general, I mean, it was so excessive and like so shallow, and people were, you know, it was just
all
like
based
very
on
tacky.
like marketing. Yeah.
So it didn't have that feeling to it. And like even the cover of their the album that Livewire's from, it's like a rip off of the Sticky Fingers album artwork from the Rolling Stones. And I was like kind of annoyed at that. But also like really the point of being musicians in the 80s was to have fun and get women. Like that's what the point was. I mean, like their music was good, but like I don't know. It's like
it really, they personified, I think, the decade pretty well.
Yeah.
As far as like the excess, the grossness, the tackiness, the kind of riding the wave of like, I guess like they understood. They just didn't give a fuck. That was the thing. It was like kind of like this entitled vibe that the 80s also had a lot of. And people were just like reckless in the 80s, like doing tons of cocaine. Like it was a lot of things happening.
Well, and like this music's good. Like it's fun music and it's good, but it's like it's like no one's remembering them for like their like these songs aren't the number one songs of all time. Like you could hear one of these and be like, "Oh, this is fun." But then you hear like a Led Zeppelin song and you're like, "Oh fuck, this is like a billion times better."
Sure, yeah. But you know, Led Zeppelin ripped off a lot of their music from people too. Like like black artists.
Yeah,
so
from
specifically
from blues musicians and shit.
So it's like every generation has their kind of, I guess, built-in shittiness, but it's like how it's everything's a remix.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So highly recommend that YouTube series, Everything's a Remix.
Oh.
It's really cool.
Huh.
Just like kind of talks about how like nothing is original. It's all
like the riffs are always, you could always go back earlier and find like something.
Yep.
Yeah.
It all comes from like blues and R&B and stuff.
Yeah,
it's very
cool.
interesting. Yeah. So I watched a couple different documentaries, and I'm watching. I'm sitting here watching the biography documentary about them. And they're all telling their stories about doing shows at the Whiskey and how they'd like do a show and have the entire fucking like club come back to their apartment, which is just like a 2-bedroom shitty ass apartment.
Oh my
and
God.
There's like 200 people just like in their apartment partying, drinking, like, and it just sounded so terrible. And
oh my God.
I think like I think they were hardcore partying. They had all these people in their apartment, 2-bedroom apartment, breaking their shit, putting cigarettes out on the floor, vomiting. They'd have cops just breaking down their door constantly because obviously it was wild.
Oh my God.
And it was like so gross. Like it doesn't sound good. And I'm sitting here watching this. They're talking about doing coke and drinking in their gross house apartment, and cockroaches crawling everywhere, and the door like literally falls off its hinges and lands on top of David Lee Roth while he's sitting there doing like blow. And the narrator goes, and the decadence escalated. And I was like, decadence? What? Bitch, what decadence? This is not the definition of decadence. Like, decadence is like luxury. Like,
oh, no.
Oh my
God.
This is excess and debauchery.
This is like, think of the most disgusting the most disgusting frat house you can possibly imagine. Like, disgusting. Just they haven't cleaned it. There's a bunch of boys living there. They're throwing parties every weekend. Ugh. Nothing's ever really getting cleaned up. And then multiply that by a patio filled with garbage because they were too fucking lazy to take it out to the street. They just like put it on their patio. And then add to that a bathroom that constantly ran out of toilet paper and had random magazine pages and old socks strewn about the floor covered in their shit.
Oh my
That
fucking
is
God.
the level of this disgusting house, and girls would go over there to fuck them. Like, in that house. You're like, they're like, oh yeah, this is
no.
like so good. You're like, hang on, I just have to go pee really quickly. And you walk in and accidentally get your shoe caught on a piece of a magazine that they had wiped their asshole with.
I cannot.
But
I
I
hate
still
it.
would probably.
Ew, you sick ass bitch. That's why you just go fuck in the bathroom at the whiskey and you don't have
Fair.
to deal with their nasty ass apartment.
Oh, those bathrooms are disgusting too.
Yeah, but somebody's cleaning them at least.
Yeah, true. Every night someone's cleaning them.
I don't know. It's all bad. It's
Dude,
all
yeah,
real
it's bad.
bad. Yeah. Oh God. I can still smell my ex-boyfriend's old college apartment.
Ew.
And it wasn't even that bad. It was actually like pretty clean for like a dank basement apartment. But still, it was bad.
I had someone I dated that lived in a house with a bunch of dudes, and I remember going into the bathroom and I would not walk around that house with no shoes on.
Oh fuck no. Everything, it was always damp somehow.
It's like, what happened here?
Yeah, I know.
Oh God. Ugh.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the kind of place they lived in when they first started.
But they were fucking.
They were fucking like
That's
all these
what's
women.
crazy.
I mean, they were hot like for their time, I guess. Like,
but it is true. It's like, would I actually like even if I had made it over there and like things were happening after seeing that house, like would you still do it? I don't think so.
think you would.
I know.
really
I don't think I would.
you would.
I don't think I would.
Also,
But-
it'd be so many people. Like a small apartment with like 200 people in it is not conducive to anything.
But once everyone left,
I guess. I
But
don't know.
the thing is, too, like, they got so famous, they were fucking, like, I mean, Tommy Lee was married to Heather Locklear and Pamela Anderson.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Not at the
Like,
same time, but
not at the
different
same
times.
time. Yeah, well, that's not legal. And
No,
you can't do that.
Yeah, he
But-
got married to Heather Locklear like in the mid 80s, right?
Yeah, dude, in the height of their, like, hotness. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And she is a babe, dude.
She is, yeah.
Yeah, so but they would not only like would they have their shows that they would have a main line of like women coming through.
Yeah.
They would have all these strip clubs and mud wrestling bars that were just like they frequented constantly, and they just fucked all the strippers and mud wrestlers. I think Vince Neil married a mud wrestler. I don't know.
This whole thing, like this whole episode, or like, all the research and stuff, the only thing I think is woof.
Yeah.
This whole
Woof.
thing, it's like to their apartment, woof.
Woof.
To all the fucking they're doing of everyone, woof. Like,
Woof.
it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, it was just so gross. And,
Yeah.
all the groupies.
Obviously.
They had so many women coming to their shows that eventually dudes, like regular dudes, caught on that they should start going to the shows even if they didn't care for their music.
Yeah.
Just so they could, like,
Hook up.
hook up with all these women that were at
Yeah.
these shows. So
Fucking
their
tease your hair.
all their shows just sold out because it was just like they were getting people in the door.
But that's the 80s. It's not about the music. It's
Nope.
about the packaging of the music.
Yes. So this was like just the vibe.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, like I had mentioned, they were just always drunk, always on drugs, like blowing lines of coke constantly, guzzling
Jack
bottles.
Daniels.
Yeah, bottles
is
of
that
whiskey.
era.
Yep,
Yeah.
this is that era. Nikki Sixx was especially troubled.
Yeah.
But so we'll talk a little bit about him as we go on. But he once got so fucked up on coke and alcohol, he drove naked through Coldwater Canyon, which is not first of all,
That's not funny.
It's not funny. Like, you should never drink and drive. But people fucking crash on this road sober as
Yeah.
all hell. And this guy is butt-ass naked driving his car down Coldwater Canyon, high and drunk as fuck. And obviously he crashed.
Yeah.
And almost died. But he like fucked his shit up, and
His shoulder, right?
his shoulder was all fucked up, and he was like on, pain meds and stuff forever. and he started doing heroin as a result of needing to manage his pain. He eventually ended up doing about $5,000 of drugs every day. That was what was said in a documentary. I don't know how accurate that is, but
oh my God,
that's a lot.
well, heroin's expensive, I would imagine, and coke.
Well, maybe back
the
then,
good stuff. The good stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff. I mean, heroin was maybe expensive then, but it's not now.
Oh, that's sad. Well, it's also not pure now, isn't it? It's cut with coke usually.
Yeah.
And all this other crap. But
coke is cut with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Dude, it's bad.
Yeah. But back then in the 80s, cocaine was dope as hell. Like that was it was pure coming from Colombia. Yeah, that was the era. Like that was what was happening.
Well, and they were so famous, and he injured his shoulder, and they were like on tour, and he didn't like they didn't take a break, which it's kind of like I get it because it's like especially when you're on that kind of like rise of fame and you're in that type of job, quote unquote, or whatever. It's like, you got to make your money when you can make your money, and you got to ride the wave.
Right. And they were just pedal to the metal the entire time.
Yeah.
The entire decade of the 80s.
Yeah.
They were just this is their life. Like, and they're rising in fame, and they're getting more money, and they're just everything is coming at them, and they're going for it. So
this is what's surprising is like as their drug use grew and stuff, so did their like music got better. I mean bigger, not better.
Bigger. I mean, they were writing a wave of like they would make an album.
Yeah.
And like kind of work on it, work hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they'd ride that wave and just get totally obliterated on drugs and alcohol when they were on tour and during shows and whatever. Yeah. They some of them would inject liquor because they had such a high tolerance for booze and everything, and they were just like, how can we get fucked up quicker? And they would just inject goddamn alcohol into their veins. I don't even know how you lived through that. I don't.
They already had a needle in their arm, so it's like just put in whatever you have lying around, I guess.
Yeah. Vince Neil also was really not doing great during their height of their fame. He in 1984 he crashed his car and killed a good friend from another band. Oh. I don't know this band, but
me either. Hanoi. What is it?
Hanoi Rocks. Yeah, his name is Razzle.
Razzle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicholas Razzle Dingley, I think.
Yeah, he had this. So Vince Neil had this like badass Pantera car that was super fast and like muscle car kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like classic 80s fucking douchebag car. And he was like wasted and drunk driving, and he crashed and killed his friend. Yeah. And it was like involved with another car, so it was like a kind of head-on collision, I guess.
Yeah.
But he was fine. He ended up going to jail, served 30 days, got 5 years probation. Or sorry, he did not serve 30 days. He was sentenced to 30 days, got 5 years probation. He had to pay out $2.6 million in restitution to the victims of the crash, like not only his friend's family, but the people other people he injured that were in the other car.
They had like permanent brain damage, I think.
Yeah, it was really bad. He had to do 200 hours of community service, but he got out of jail in 15 days for good behavior. So I mean,
what's 30 days even for that type of shit? It's like whatever. I don't know. Like
he served half that time. It's insane. He killed his friend, and I fucked up these other people's lives, and it was so fucked. But he was also court ordered to stay sober, but that didn't last, obviously, because he was in a band full of 20-something-year-old assholes who were millionaires and were not supportive. They'd like do coke and drink in front of him. Well, he was trying to stay sober, but like
But also, if something like that happens to you and you don't have the proper tools to like work through it, like therapy and all those things, you're gonna go in deeper, which is what happened. Because like,
right.
how
and
I
also
mean,
he was having fun.
Up.
Like he fucked up, but he was like, I think he was like devastated after this.
Yeah,
I don't doubt that he wasn't, but also like, how do you just go back to your regular life after this? I don't know.
Yeah.
Which is what
you spiral.
He spiraled big time.
Yeah.
So yeah, he tried to stay sober, but that didn't last. Everybody was just wild as fuck.
Dude.
Everybody started doing heroin.
Oh no.
All of them.
That's bad.
It got real bad. They all dabbled, but Nikki Sixx was real hooked on heroin. He was a full-blown addict with, I don't even know. He didn't care. He was in a bad way. He'd been doing heroin for at least 3 or 4 years by 1987.
How is that even possible?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know how you could do it that long. People die all the time. Like, it's crazy.
He had OD'd once before really badly. And he almost died from that, but he came back and nobody knew.
I know, because the dealer that shot him up thought he died, so they dumped him in a fucking dumpster.
Yeah, and he like woke up miraculously.
Just, like, wandered back to the hotel or whatever.
Yep.
Oh my God.
And that was like after a show or something. I don't know. So crazy. But in 1987, he literally died of an overdose.
Oh my God.
For 2 minutes officially. He'd been partying all day with Slash from Guns N' Roses. Everybody knows Slash.
Yeah.
And he was like coming off a tour in Japan, and so he literally landed from coming back from Japan, which is a fucking long ass flight.
Yeah.
Landed in LA.
Probably was drunk as fuck, because I would imagine he's drinking the whole flight.
On the flight, yeah. Lands in LA, calls his dealer, gets hooked up.
Literally like picked up in a limo. His dealer's in there.
Yeah, he's like, "Here's your heroin, sir."
He's all, boop, boop. Hey, he's holding up a little sign. It's like Nikki Sixx.
Yeah,
with like a needle. I don't
know. He's like, ugh, it's real bad. It's real bad. And
he's wearing his denim chauffeur hat.
Ugh. Yeah, but that's how I mean, honestly, that was literally what happened. He just like gets in the limo, shoots up, is like, all right, I'm ready to party, goes to his apartment, takes a shower, goes out for the rest of the day, hanging out with Slash. They are drinking and doing pills all day long. Oh my God. And everybody eventually passes out, and he decides, I'm going to do some more heroin. And they're at a hotel which Slash lived in, I guess, the Franklin House.
Dude, these people need to manage their money. Buy a small, nice apartment. Like, you don't need to be living in a hotel spending thousands of dollars a day.
Oh my Lord, it's not a good financial planning at all.
No.
So he gets I think he's so fucked up that he can't even like shoot himself up. Like, I think he has to have the dealer do it.
Yeah.
And he starts to OD. And everybody's all fucked up, but Slash's girlfriend is like, holy fuck, and starts giving him CPR, makes somebody call the paramedics. Like, she had her shit together at least, thank God.
Yeah.
And he gets loaded into an ambulance and rushed to the hospital. On the way there, the paramedic, like, fucking Pulp Fiction style, pops him in the heart with adrenaline twice.
Yeah.
And he comes back.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, everybody's like, he's dead. Like,
because he was already pronounced dead officially.
He was pronounced dead, and they were like doing full blown CPR. Like, paramedics were like, ugh, and everybody was like, oh my God, he's dead. Like, that he was with. So the word gets around. His bandmates start finding out that he's dead. Everybody's like, what the fuck? He's at the hospital. He makes it. Wakes up the next day. Checks himself. I don't even think he checked out of the fucking hospital. He just like ripped all the tubes and stuff out of his arm.
Put his pants on and left.
Yeah. Found some groupies who had spent the night in the parking lot, and knocked on their window because they thought he was dead, and they're all crying, and he's like, "Can I get a ride home?" And they're just like, "What the fuck?"
Oh my God.
Yeah, so they'd like drive him home, and then he goes home. He shoots the biggest fucking load of heroin he's ever done in his life, and he's fine.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's when you should, I don't even know if that's rock bottom, because if you can't even see it and you're still alive, are you really at rock bottom? I don't know.
No, is it rock bottom like when you turn it around? Like, I mean, dying wasn't even rock bottom for him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He lived. He was like, "Oh, cool, I'm still alive. I'm gonna do some more heroin."
Yeah.
Like, that's so far gone that I don't even. It's one of the worst stories I think I've ever heard. It's pretty bad.
Oh my God, he probably woke up feeling like such shit. Yeah. And like needed to do, like I don't know.
You gotta get back on that white horse. So I think everybody was like, "Oh my God, this is unacceptable." And I think he finally did realize after coming down from this huge, massive dose of heroin that he needed to go into treatment, and he did. And after that, everybody went to treatment because it scared the shit out of them. They all thought he had died, so they were like, "This is so real." Yeah. And I don't think anybody really had realized how bad his heroin addiction had gotten. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, they were all a mess, and they were like, "Oh my God, we need help." So they all stayed sober for a while, actually, for a couple years collectively.
Yeah, they made their best album, Dr. Feelgood. Their best Billboard charting album.
Most commercially successful. Yeah,
number one. So, and it has a lot of good songs on it, and like that, it was like they were having their moment.
Yep. They were sober.
Yeah.
Imagine that. But but then they all started, by the early 90s, they all just kind of slid right back into drinking and drugging.
Yeah.
And then from there, they started getting wild again. They started fighting. Obviously, that's what happens when everybody's all fucked up.
Yeah.
Nobody can think straight. Everybody's pissed. And
I think they all got mad at Vince, right? Because he technically fell off the wagon first. Yeah. And I think they got really upset at that.
A lot of animosity there. So, but you know what? Everybody was just a mess. So,
and instead of supporting him, he's like their friend. They all just like turned on him, which is fucked up.
They were all just a total and complete mess.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happens. I mean, when they were literally in their early 20s when they started this band in 1981. I think Tommy was 18, like, oh my God, or 19. So it's like none of them had any kind of coping tools. They were stuck in their early 20s, like
forever,
emotionally, mentally, and just couldn't deal with anything. So
that's what happens when you do too many drugs when your brain's still developing and you start killing off all the brain cells. It just stunts it. And all your experiences are like reinforced by your like quote unquote good times. So you want to keep that going. So, and I don't doubt that they weren't having fun, but then it started to become not fun. And then, so they didn't know how to deal with that. And it's just a vicious cycle. So Vince Neil eventually got booted out and he went solo. He, I think, straightened up a little bit, but he did the song "You're Invited, But Your Friends Can't Come." Yeah.
You know that song?
I love that
good
song.
One.
Yeah, it's really good.
And that's like, this is early 90s. I think he had a kid. Like everybody started like getting married and doing their weird stuff. But then, Vince's daughter died in 1995 from cancer, which is really sad. And he was in a bad place again. But eventually, Motley Crüe, they had kind of moved on, and they replaced him. They replaced him with another lead singer from another band who fucking sucked. It was so weird.
And the fans hated it.
Which
you can't do that. I feel like, it's one thing I guess for like Queen to replace Freddie Mercury 30 years later with like Adam Lambert, it's still disgusting. Like I'm like, no,
No.
why? Don't do that. But at least I mean, Freddie's dead and like they're trying to keep the music alive. I'm like, okay, but it's like when the band is still alive and it's like
Yeah.
they're just being dicks.
It's like what happened with Van Halen.
Yeah.
They replaced
David Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth with Sammy Hagar.
Yeah.
And like they kept going, but it was like, I don't know.
It's like sad. And it's like,
Yeah.
people don't like Sammy Hagar.
I know.
And then
so weird.
Yeah, it's like what are you doing making these like basic bitch songs?
Yeah.
Fucking get Van Halen back together with David Lee Roth.
I know. Well. Anyway, so everybody hated it. They tried to put out a new album with this new lead singer, and it sucked. Did not do well. So then they got a new manager, and the manager convinced them to get Vince back on board after his like a 5-year absence.
Yeah.
And they all got back together. Their first album back together sucked, though. But they blamed that on their record label, Elektra, and they managed to leave Elektra with the rights to their own music and masters, which is super rare.
Dude.
That nobody gets that. It doesn't happen.
I don't even know who else has been able to do that. The Beatles haven't even been able to. Like,
no.
The Beatles don't own their records. CCR, like, it has had a really bad history with that. John Fogerty, like, doesn't own any songs he's written. It's crazy.
Yeah, they I don't know how they managed to maintain control of their own content, but it's pretty remarkable that they were able to.
And they make money off that shit still. Because, like, a lot of their songs are used in movies still. And, like... Oh, yeah.
Like, if you think about any kind of music that needs to be licensed...
Yeah.
They directly get paid.
Right.
To their own bank accounts, not through a record label, and then they get a percentage of it. It is directly to them anytime their music is used. Yeah. Crazy.
Amazing.
It's pretty big. That's a big deal. I don't know how they managed to do that.
Dude, I know. I'm like, was this an accident? Because I don't think they were that savvy.
But I think maybe they were to some degree that they never, I don't know.
Maybe when they sobered up, they were like actual, later
or
on.
Or they just had a really good entertainment lawyer. I don't know.
Yeah, true. And manager.
But yeah, they had this was all a very rough time. They weren't coming back really from this. They all started having their individual problems. I mean, Nikki Sixx was a mess. Still, I don't know. I think he'd like sobered up. Vince Neil's like baby daughter had died, so he was a mess still. And Tommy Lee was getting in trouble for spousal abuse.
He went to prison.
Yeah, he did. And it's just bleh.
And Mick Mars had...
He has like a rare degenerative bone disease of the spine and hips, and he's had it since he was like a teenager. Like he was diagnosed when I think he was 17. Yeah. But that made it's very painful. So he like went through a very bad episode where he just was like a recluse and was not doing well. So
he was doing a lot of drugs to like numb the pain. And...
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So everybody is just a mess.
Yeah.
So this is like around like mid to late 90s. This is all starting. This all just falls apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bad time.
But then, in the early 2000s,
something happened.
Something happened. They probably wanted to make a little bit more money. And they got together and wrote a tell-all book. And I, like, in 2001 it came out. I remember reading this circa, like, 2002, 2003, which was also coincided with my, like, groupie phase. Because I was, like, super into all this stuff. And I just remember, like, one, how disgusting their apartment was, which we talked about. Like, it was so disgusting. And then, two, how they spoke of and treated women. Because they had nicknamed Tommy's girlfriend at the time when they were, like, really, really young, living in that gross apartment. And this is all in the book that came out. They had nicknamed her Bullwinkle because I guess she was, like, maybe bigger and, like, not cute, which is so rude. And, like, Vince was trying to break her up, Vince was like, "Oh, Tommy, you should like break up with her. There's so many hotter chicks, and you can get like such hotter chicks." But Tommy wouldn't break up with her because he could. This is alleged. I don't know how true this is, but he could make her come across the room,
Gross.
like squirt. I guess.
I mean, not gross that people can do that, but like
that's
is
the
not
reason
a
they're
reason.
staying together.
They're
It's so weird.
fucking gross.
They're so
disgusting.
fucking gross. And then the other thing was they would this again. The way they describe the women in this book is really like pretty upsetting, and it just makes I like should not have read that book at that time in my life too, because it made me like think everyone was just talking shit about me, like all the dudes behind my back. But they would fuck quote unquote fat chicks. I paraphrasing for things like getting to drive their cars. Like Tommy Lee once fucked a woman because she had a cool car and he wanted to drive it. And it's like, I mean, the way that would be fine if they weren't talking so awful about these women and like describing them as being so grotesque and stuff. And it's like, these are just women that were like enamored with the music and really loved the attention from these like rock gods at the time, you know, like that they were super into. It's just kind of sad.
They're disgusting. These fucking guys are disgusting.
Yeah. But then come to find out, yesterday we were doing the research and talking about how things connect back to earlier episodes. The guy who like co-wrote this book with them,
their tell-all,
their tell-all.
What's the name of it?
Oh fuck. The Dirt.
Oh,
The Dirt. That's what it's called. It's like a Motley Crüe tell-all, and they all have their own like chapters throughout, like telling stories and stuff. It was co-written by Neil Strauss, who we talked about in the Pickup Artist episode, because he wrote under a pseudonym a book about pickup artistry and becoming like it's called The Game. We talked about this in that episode. We've talked about this,
yeah.
Oh my god. And I was like, no fucking wonder.
It's all coming full circle.
Because pickup artists want to be rock stars, but they don't have the musical abilities. So, you know, this piece of shit guy like got his way in there and probably loved all the attention he got. And it's just disgusting.
It was such a gross symbiotic relationship for them to write this book with this guy.
Yeah. So gross, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. They were trying to stay relevant. This guy is just like such a fucking nerd trying to figure out how to be a rock star. I don't know.
Like pickup artistry is influenced directly from like this era and this type of music. I feel like the hair, the like flashiness, the leather, the weird hats. Like I feel like it's all like interwoven into each other.
Oh yeah, this is like the prototype for what they are trying to go for, like in terms of their aesthetic to attract women. It's laughable.
It's so gross.
But yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, go to our episode about pickup artists.
Oh my god,
that's a good resource. But yeah, this tell-all really got them all back together.
Yeah,
got them back into the main spotlight again.
Well, it's like, oh, look, we can make money. Like, oh, look, we're kind of relevant. And people want us to, like, perform for them. So
people were, like, kind of horrified, though, I think, by this book.
Dude.
Which is, like, what it is.
It's
so bad. It's so
bad.
gross.
I don't think I even finished it, ever.
Because you're like, ew.
Just all the stuff about the house and, like, how they were, like... I feel like they were, like... fucking ladies to, like, get their rent paid and stuff. Like, it was rough.
Yeah, it was a gross
and then talking shit about them and being really mean.
I know. It's so icky.
Yeah.
But yeah, this got them to all like reunite, and then they went on tour together in 2005, and they've been back together, and they've had multiple tours since then.
Yeah.
And they've been back together ever since they retired in 2015. Like officially though. So
I mean,
who knows?
But they're not looking that good.
No.
We talked about this.
Woof is again the theme of this show. I don't understand. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up in a little bit, but
Yeah.
this is one of my final thoughts and feelings about this is I don't understand how these guys are still alive. Like, I don't get it. I feel like I was like texting with you. I was like, I can't learn any more about these fucking people anymore. It's making me feel gross.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand how they're still alive. I feel like they pickled themselves or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's so
They've like
disgusting.
They've legit like all of the alcohol has like somehow preserved like a formaldehyde. I call this the Keith Richards effect.
Yes.
Because if you do enough drugs and drink enough, you bypass the health. You somehow bypass all the negative health effects that will happen to you, and you enter this sweet spot of pickledness.
Yeah.
And you look like shit, but somehow you're still alive.
It's a death becomes her situation.
It's death becomes her. It is gross. It's like the perfect mix of cigarettes, Jack Daniels, heroin.
Yeah.
They should be doing experiments on these dudes.
I think so. But the fact that all four of them are still alive.
Yeah.
I mean, what's his name? Does have a degenerative disease, but that was before all of this.
But he kind of like bounced back from it because he did. Stopped doing drugs, and then his manager like really cared about him as a human and was like, let's get you some help. And they he does like therapy and things, I think. So
yeah.
Hopefully it helps, but I don't know. They're unrecognizable. If you
God.
Vince Neil for me was like super hot right when they first started, and then you could see with like every subsequent like tour, he looked a little more like sweaty and bloated.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, he's been somewhat unrecognizable since the early 90s, but like he looks how I would imagine, the movie My Girl. Like
yeah.
If Thomas J would have survived the beehive, in My Girl, like he would have been like all puffy and probably like shiny, because you know how your skin gets like really. But also Thomas J, if he was an adult with long ass blonde hair who wears like a lot of zebra print and mascara, that's what Vince Neil looks like.
Yeah, I can see it. Jesus fuck. I mean, yeah, in their day, they were like good looking dudes, but yeah, like it was like such a gradual decline after each tour. It was just like they were more and more pickled. Somehow.
Dude, more and more pickled and like
bloated.
Stop dyeing your hair jet black. It is jarring. Like it's too black.
Yeah, it's obviously fake. It's not real.
It's obviously fake, and like also that goes for your goatee. You cannot just for men the shit out of your face and hope to look young. There's something about like you need to embrace age at some point, and this goes for everyone, because you look weird and it is scary.
I mean, do whatever you want, but like realize that it's not looking genuine.
Well, but maybe black isn't a great color anymore.
Maybe
once
black
you're
is,
like,
maybe black is not the color when you're really pasty and bloated.
Dude, you gotta
get
good. No, it is not good. It is very sickly, and they all look like vampires, like scary pickup artist vampires.
Yeah, it's really bad. They haven't aged well. It's really sad. I mean, this is what happens when you just like go really fucking hard for 2 decades, really,
dude,
of life, and don't slow down, don't take care of yourself, and like in the worst ways possible. Like, they just did everything. So,
and also stop flat ironing your hair.
I want somebody to like Photoshop what these guys look like without all this hair.
Oh my god!
I wish I had
or
Photoshop
like with different
skills.
hair, with different hair.
Like normal, like present day haircuts that are, like tasteful, salt and pepper, like, which is what stage of life they are in now,
Tommy, like, okay, definitely their pubes are gray at this point.
Oh my god, yeah.
Tommy Lee definitely has the best haircut of anyone, like shape wise, but also the scariest face maybe. And also I googled, don't do this, Tommy Lee 2018. Are you doing it?
No, I'm checking. My battery is about to die.
Oh no. I Googled Tommy Lee 2018 and he does not look great. Also, he's engaged, maybe already married to a fucking Vine star, which that went away a while ago. So I don't know what else this lady's been doing.
Dude, who?
Which doesn't exist anymore. She's so fucking young. It's Creep City, and he
Ew.
looks even like closer to death next to her. Like he looks like less human and more waxy and just like hard living. And
He's probably back on
the
some
bad
drugs.
stuff. I think he's back on the bad stuff because I watched a video that, you know, like those cute little videos where it's like kids react and it's like they would listen to music and it was kids reacting to Motley Crüe songs, and he kept licking his mouth.
Ew.
And like
Ew.
doing something weird, and I was like, is that a tick or is he like on something?
Probably.
And,
I mean,
he looked very waxy.
His brain's probably all fucked up from all the drugs.
I know. Probably wires got crossed, and every time he blinks, his brain also like says to like lick his mouth or something.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Oh, God. This is a cautionary tale for all you young kids out there who want to be
rock stars,
SoundCloud rappers. I mean, it's kind of what I would liken them to. Like nowadays, like people like Lil Yachty got started on Instagram, and it's like kind of this like, you know, guerrilla style way of becoming famous. That's kind of like how they did it.
And now he's like super famous doing fucking Gucci flip flops with Bad Baby. And like they're gonna rock it to the top of the world. And
the Cash Me Outside girl.
Yeah, Cash Me Outside, Danielle Bergoli.
Yeah,
Gucci
I hate that
flip flops. I fucking love that song.
I hate that we know about all this stuff, but
yeah, whatever.
What are you gonna do?
I don't care. I like that song, and I don't apologize. Be careful.
Don't be like Motley Crüe. You're gonna end up looking like Tommy Lee if you do.
Yeah, preserve yourself, but not by pickling it.
Yeah. Oh God.
All right.
Party like a rock star. Age like a rock star.
Oh, maybe not then.
No. I'm still making up for some bad mistakes from my 20s. So.
The worst mistake I made was I was sober and I fell off a skateboard. And my hand hurts all the time. Still.
Oh, so arthritis is plaguing you now.
I think it's like arthritis / a carpal tunnel. And it's been compounded by the skateboard incident of 2013. All right.
Well, that's all I got.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Visit the website. You know, we said all that stuff up top. So
up top, yeah. But
just a reminder.
Follow us on social medias. Get a friend to listen.
Yeah. Subscribe on iTunes. Leave
a review.
We have 2 1-star reviews now. I don't know if you've seen those.
Oh,
ratings.
when you're great,
We've
people
made
hate.
it. Yeah, we've made it.
Cool, man. Well, I'll catch you later. Everybody, be excellent.
Cash me outside.
Cash me outside. How about
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, it's the cops.